What makes an anime good? Now, my thing when it comes to creating an anime that most people will like, I feel like the first three episodes really have to catch a person's attention. And I honestly would say the first episode should really be really big. Like it should start off with just a bang. Um, One extremely good example of this would be um, Bleach. I think Bleach is one of the best anime when it comes to starting off an anime really, really good. I would even say Naruto does it good as well. And I would even say Inuyasha does it good. There's a couple of examples of anime shows that made it to where the first couple of episodes were interesting and intriguing enough to where I was like, okay, I want to watch the rest of the show. And surprisingly, those are like three of my favorite ones. I really love One Piece, Inuyasha, and Bleach. Um, like all three of them really start their shows off really good, and Naruto starts its show off really good. And I feel like that's kind of an issue that we have with the new gens, is that the new gens really aren't that good at it. I would say JJK is good at it, even though it's not really one of my personal favorites. I say JJK started off really good with its first episode. But I also think that has to do with the fact that JJK's animation is extremely high budget. I mean, the show is so pretty, you're bound to like it based on the fights. It's like if you don't like it off the fights, then I don't know what to tell you. But when it comes to shows like Chainsaw Man had my attention at first. And then it just started feeling kind of corny, like it was kind of trying too hard, at least in my personal opinion. If you guys don't agree, it's perfectly fine. But in my opinion, I felt like Chainsaw Man kind of lost my interest after a while. Mostly also because it started using that really crappy CGI. And I'm one of the people who doesn't really complain about budgets when it comes to shows and complaining about animation and the fluidity of animation, stuff like that. I'm like, as long as it looks decent, I'm cool. But I always kind of low-key hate when a show uses 3D models and 3D animation. It just annoys me. It kind of reminds me of that really crappy Berserk cartoon that I mean anime that I can't get through, that I don't even feel like I can consider an anime. It looks like a cheaply made, it looks worse than PlayStation 2 games. Like, it looks worse than Sly Cooper 3, in my opinion. Sly Cooper 3 actually looks really good. Um, yeah, I just think it's like weird how ugly and gross it looks. And Chainsaw Man just irritated me with that. Cause like when you look at the manga has really nice panels of fights. And then you watch the anime and it's like, oh, CGI fights, woohoo. I always feel like it's a really big issue because a lot of anime companies, they always butcher the anime. And that's what always annoys me. That's another thing I want to talk about. Another main issue is that a lot of the adaptations for anime shows are really trash because they'll literally have the content of the manga, and instead of following it to a T, they always end up adding a whole bunch of BS filler, or they'll change like a scene and make it look different than how it looked in the manga, or they'll take out scenes, or they'll flip the scenes around to happen at different times, or they'll just take them out altogether. And that's something that really annoys me with adaptations. And some adaptations are completely different than the actual manga. There are a couple of anime shows that I've watched where they don't even follow the manga at all. They basically make their own show. Or they change like the middle of the show. An example of that, I believe, if I remember correctly, Soul Eater was like kind of different halfway through the show. Same thing with the original Full Metal Alchemist. It was different halfway through the show because it was like the manga and the show were running at around the same time. So it's like the anime was basically like, we're just going to kind of do our own thing with it. Of course, we got Brotherhood that follows the manga to a T, but I always get annoyed when this happens. I'm like, why don't you guys just let the manga finish before you make the anime, and then make the anime and make it nice, high budget? But I think what it is I think that they're trying to create the anime while the manga still has a very high buzz, while people still like it and want to who have an interest in it. Because once you actually finish the manga, it's like everybody knows everything that's going to happen. So it's like they're not going to really want to watch the show because it's like, well, I already read all the manga. Because that's how I felt when I finished Demon Slayer. I finished all of the manga of Demon Slayer. So now I really don't have any type of desire to watch the show. I'm kind of just like, man, you know. Plus, especially when the shows just take so damn long to come out. Like one of my favorite shows is Nagatoro, but I bought all the mangas and read them. Like all the ones that are out in English, I've read. So yeah, there's that. But I think that's another big issue is just the animes taking too long to come back, and then the adaptations being really bad compared to the actual manga and the panels. One thing that bothers me, for example, is Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter has enough chapters to come back. They have enough chapters to at least animate the Chrollo and Hisoka fight. They could make that into like a fire-ass, hour-long OVA if they wanted to. Why haven't they done it? I have no idea. Because they have enough. They have at least that fight done. And then they have enough of the Dark Continent arc to at least, give us like 30 episodes of it. Like, they really should do that. I don't know why they don't do it, but they should. Because I would just love to see all that stuff animated. Even if we are not at the Dark Continent yet, even if we never make it there, I still wish they would at least, at the very least, make a little OVA or even make a movie. They could just make the Hisoka and Chrollo fight a movie. I mean, they have those 2 movies out. I think one of them was called the Phantom Rogue movie, and then the other one was the, I'm trying to remember, what's the other one? Where they're like fighting in the damn Heaven's Arena, that movie. Do I have both? I have one of them. I have the Phantom Rogue one. Both of those movies were okay. I've heard people say they're trash. They're not trash. They're all right. They're not as good as the show, but they're all right. I mean, there's something to watch. They're extra Hunter x Hunter content. But honestly, at this point, I would at least, I'll just take some fillers. Like, I just want more Hunter x Hunter. Honestly. Like, I'm all the way caught up pretty much. I mean, I could go back and like read the whole Phantom Troop backstory, because that really wasn't that bad. I actually kind of like the Phantom Troop backstory. They have enough content to give us some stuff. Like, they could do the Hisoka fight, the Chrollo fight. They have the Phantom Troop backstory. That could be like 5-6 episodes. Like, they could just make these mini series. They don't have to even do too much. You know what I'm saying? It's like 5 episodes of the Phantom Troop backstory. 5 episodes of the Hisoka versus Chrollo fight. There you go. 10 episodes. Boom. And you can make them beautiful. And then give us, some episodes about the Dark Continent. Not the Dark Continent, but them on the ship to go to the Dark Continent, where they're looking for Hisoka and stuff. I mean, it's like, we'll watch it. Even though it's not finished, we'll still watch it. That's how us Hunter x Hunter fans are. Like, we'll take anything at this point. Even though I'm like, bro, how are we not at the Dark Continent yet? Like, come on. We've been waiting for so long. I'm like, God dang. And I do not want nothing to happen to Yoshiro Jogashi. That's why I'm like, bro, just write a light novel if you need to. Like, come on, bro. I'll help you write it. Like, fly me out there. I'll help you. Like, please, bro. Like, on me. But yeah, those are some problems. I feel like if they could fix those problems, honestly, like, anime shows would be a lot better. To go back to, like, the first couple episodes being interesting. Like, even though there are certain shows, like, for example, like, My Hero Academia is a new one. A newer one, because it came out when I was, like, in college, right? I like My Hero, but it's like one of those shows where it doesn't really have any rewatch value. That's a strange thing about it. It's like I watch it one time and I'm like, I'm good. I don't ever go back to it. I just wait for the next season to come out, watch it, and I'm like, okay, that's enough. It's kind of one of those shows where it's just something to watch, But I will say that when, it is one of those shows that gives you a lot of inspiration in the fights. The fights be giving me goosebumps by what they be saying. Like, it gives me so much inspiration. I'm like, God damn. And it did make me cry when Deku's like running around looking like an emo chick running around trying to save people, and he was talking to like all the old what was it, All For One users. That mess was hard as hell, I ain't gonna lie. It was like he was the Avatar. It was pretty clean. And I love All Might's teacher. She's so freaking cool. But yeah, there's a lot of shows that actually kind of suffer from being boring at the beginning. of the shows, but the shows are still good. Like Black Clover and Fairy Tail are lucky that they got as big as they did, because boy, the first like 20 episodes of Black Clover is a slog, and the first like 4 or 5 episodes of Fairy Tail was a slog, at least for me. Like they're lucky that they got big. I ain't gonna lie. What's some other shows that people like? JJK, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer had a decently good first episode. I don't know. It was kind of boring though to me for some reason. I don't know. Like my brain is like, I think it's just because now I'm watching these shows as an adult. You know what I'm saying? It's like they kind of sometimes they could be boring, but I do think Demon Slayer is really good. Like I watched it and I enjoy it, but it was like, I don't know. It's like the episode is wild, like it's crazy, but I do agree with people that Demon Slayer is pretty generic. But I also say I do have an extremely deep love for like late 90s, early 2000s anime like Inuyasha, Cowboy Bebop, Bleach, One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, you know, late 80s. Even the late 80s shows like Space Cobra, City Hunter. You know, I just love old school anime and the aesthetic, GTO, you know, stuff like that. So that might also be what it is. Like the newer animators are decent, but they're not even close to the old school ones. Space Danny, Samurai Champloo, you know, those are, I don't know if I'd classify those late 2000s. They came out pretty early though. When I was like 14, I think both of those shows came out. But yeah, that's all I have to really say. It's like, I think that shows would be a lot better if the first 3 episodes are good, because there are a lot of shows where I was kind of bored and I had to literally keep rewatching them over and over again to get into them, like Black Clover and Fairy Tail. Because I swear, every single time I tried to watch Fairy Tail, I kept falling asleep to it. And then every time I tried to watch Black Clover, it's like I would get to like episode 8 and be so bored. But it's like I powered through them and eventually liked them. I feel like Black Clover honestly should just get rid of the first 20 episodes. I feel like people would get into it more. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. Hope you guys have a good night. Peace and blessings.